Hi beautiful people, welcome back to my channel. Today we are going to do a full face beat for beginners, and just a reminder, I am a beginner myself, but I want to show you how you could be a beginner but still slay like a pro. I did my eyebrows off camera with the Benefit brow pencil. Now I'm going to carve them out with the Fenty Beauty concealer in the shade 350 and a flat brush. Now when I'm carving out my eyebrows, I do small strokes. As you see, I really like to be very careful with carving it out. I really don't do the top of my brow because, like I said, I am a beginner and I wear baby hairs and bangs. And when you do the top of the brow, sometimes with the concealer, you can end up messing up your eyebrow. So like I said, I am a beginner and this is a video for beginners. So I just really like to focus on carving out the bottom of my brow really nicely, and I like to bring that concealer all the way down to my lid and fully cover my lid. This will help my eyeshadows pop more. I really love the full coverage look that it gives when you bring that concealer all the way down. And now we're gonna carve out the other brow the exact same way. I would really say take your time on your brows. A lot of people like to rush. I like to do small strokes. And I'm also gonna upload another video just on brows to show you guys how I get the natural brow effect. I don't use any of the gel or brow freeze or anything like that. I tried it, but it just doesn't work for me. I literally just use the Benefit brow pencil. That's it. Yes, honey, these brows are looking good. Now I want to set that concealer in and blend it out. And with that, I use the Real Technique Concealer Pro Brush. Love this brush. I'm gonna use this brush so much throughout this whole video with blending my concealer. It really makes a huge difference. Make sure you are being very careful and taking your time when you're getting close to that brow line. You want to get as close as possible without crossing it. For the eyeshadow look today, we are going to do a smoky nude. So first we're going to start with a base color, which is the lightest color that you are going to use. And you just are going to blend it all throughout the lid and in the crease. I like to do both eyes at the same time so I can make sure that they are looking pretty even. Some people like to do one eye completely, then do the other eye. With me being a beginner, doing both eyes at the same time works better for me. Now we're gonna go in with our second shade, which is gonna be a little bit darker than the first one, but not the darkest shade that we're gonna use. And when it comes to the eyes, there is a lot of blending. So you are gonna see me blend a lot. Blend, and trust the process here. I know throughout this process it's gonna look a little bit crazy, but I promise it's all gonna come together in the end. And you want to really focus on blending out any harsh lines. Now we are gonna go in with our darkest shade. We're not gonna go too heavy on this. We're going to slowly build up the color. Make sure you're going back and forth between both eyes to make sure that they are even and they look pretty identical. Again, blend, blend, blend. Blend out all those harsh lines. You see how it's starting to like look really well blended under my brow? That's the look that we're gonna go for. Once that is all blended well, we are gonna go in with our concealer and flat brush and go in and put the concealer from the inner eye to about halfway through the lid. Make sure you are being very careful with the placement of the concealer and you're not going too high or too far over. Also, once you start to reach the middle of the lid, blend it out a little bit, just so it's not a harsh line with the concealer. Now we are gonna go back in with our concealer brush and just press that in and blend that out. Now that that is nice and blended, we are gonna go in with our lighter shade. I'm also using an eyeshadow brush from Real Technique, and we are gonna put that right where we just applied the concealer. We're gonna layer this on about 2 times just so you can really see this color. Alright, so now I am going to go in with another brush that doesn't have any powder on it. And I'm just going to use this brush to blend out that color that I just applied. And I want it to really blend with the darker shades. I don't want any harsh lines, so we're really going to focus on blending the lines here. So we're really focusing on blending the middle of the lid, the front of the lid, around the top, under the brow. Like, we're blending everywhere with this brush. Once that's nice and blended out, I go in with a makeup wipe and clean up all the excess powder, along with following my eye line to really give that eyeshadow a nice wing. Like, look how good that's looking. Yes, honey. Beginner wear. Once that is all cleaned up, I did go ahead and apply my lashes off camera. And now I am going to prime my face. I love the Urban Decay All Nighter. This is one of my favorite primers. And we're just gonna put that everywhere, all over the face. Make sure we get under the eyes. And we're gonna let this dry a little bit before we go in with our foundation. Now, once that is dry, I go in with my NARS foundation. I absolutely love this foundation because it's great for my dry skin and it's really one of the only brands that actually has my color. It matches my skin so perfectly. I'm using a sponge to apply the foundation to my face, but not blend it in. I actually use a brush. This is my Real Technique face brush. And now I am blending in the foundation. I recommend using a brush when doing your concealer, foundation, contour, when you're blending anything in, because the brush actually helps with a better coverage. Like, look at that. That is serving skin, okay? Make sure you are blending that foundation in everywhere, including the jawline and the neck. Yes, I even like to get close to my ears. Try to get under my baby hairs as well. You want this foundation to be a base, so everywhere needs to be covered except for under your eyes. I don't like under my eyes to look too cakey because we're going to put 2 layers of concealer there. So as you see, I'm putting foundation pretty much everywhere except for directly under my eyes because like I said, I don't want that cakey effect. And now I blend it in with my neck, getting my nose and forehead, just everywhere but under the eyes. Do not forget under those baby hairs, girl. We need this look to look like skin. Once the foundation is fully applied, I am now gonna go in with my concealer. Again, I use Fenty Beauty in the shade 350 and my Real Technique brush. Like I was saying earlier, it's a lot better to blend out your makeup with a brush, especially if you want that full coverage look. The sponge just picks up the makeup and really doesn't set it in correctly. I apply the concealer under my eye, on my nose, on my chin, on the top of my lip, and you're gonna let that sit in for a couple seconds before blending. And then you're gonna go ahead and blend. Look how good that looks when you blend with the brush. Like, baby, I'm never using a sponge to blend ever again. And this is what I mean by these small techniques really make a big difference on your makeup application. You can be a beginner, but your makeup can look flawless like a pro just from these small techniques. When you're a beginner and you're really trying to learn to do your makeup, please go to the store and get new makeup. It does not have to be expensive. It could be even drugstore makeup. The makeup really doesn't matter on the brand, it's the technique. Your makeup can look flawless with all drugstore makeup. But also, the reason why I say get new makeup is because me as a beginner, I bought makeup before, let it sit around in my house, and then when I went to get serious about my makeup, I tried to use this makeup and the concealer wasn't blending out right. Like, I was looking a hot mess. I was getting flashbacks in the camera from my concealer. It was just looking a hot mess, and it's because makeup does expire, and when it expires, it doesn't give that flawless application. Makeup expires between 6 to 12 months, so just make sure that you are using unexpired makeup. This will also help a lot with the outcome. Okay, now let's just take a moment to really appreciate how blended, how flawlessly blended this concealer is. Like, when I say I'm obsessed with using a brush, like I said, I would never go back to using a sponge. This brush does exactly what it needs to do. It spreads the makeup more evenly and gives me that full coverage, and it really quickly gets rid of those harsh lines. Another pro tip is when you are blending your concealer, contour, foundation, whatever it is, make sure you are tapping the brush, not dragging it back and forth. You are tapping. You see how I'm tapping it? Okay, face is definitely coming together. Now let's go in with this contour. I use the Fenty contour stick in the shade Truffle. Love, love, love this concealer. This has been the only concealer I've ever used just because I just love it. It goes on really smooth and it blends out so perfectly. When applying your contour, make sure you stay on that cheekbone and make sure you don't go down too far. I like to measure like the top of my ear down to like almost the middle of my cheek. And again, when blending, use a brush and you're gonna tap it. Tap the brush. Do not drag the brush back and forth. It will create harsh lines. You can't really tell here, but I'm tapping in an upward position to really bring that contour in with that concealer so it can be well blended. Blend, blend, blend. We don't want any harsh lines. Look how good that's looking. Yes, cheekbone. Okay. Once that contour is nice and blended, we are going to go in with our second layer of concealer, which is going to be a brighter one than the one you used before. And you only are using a little bit. You see how much I am using here versus when I first applied the first concealer. I'm going to put it everywhere that I had put the original concealer. I'm going to let that sit in for a little bit before I blend it out. Now, I did go ahead and contour my nose a little bit off camera. I didn't really show that here because that's not really needed, especially because this is a beginner video and I just started learning how to contour my nose like 2 weeks ago. So I'll do another video on that later. Tap, tap, tap. We are tapping in that concealer for a nice blended look. Make sure you are being very careful and very precise of where you are placing that concealer with the brush, especially because this is the lighter concealer and we want to make sure that it stays exactly where it's supposed to be. Especially now that we have put that contour on, make sure to not bring the concealer down too far on that cheekbone. We want to stay right up under the eye. This second brighter concealer pro tip is really only for if you're doing a full face beat. If you're doing more of a natural face beat, then you would only do the one concealer. After blending out that second layer of concealer, I really like to set my contour with a bronzer. So I go in with my contour brush and just apply a little bit of bronzer on that cheekbone, along with making sure that second layer of concealer blends in with it perfectly. Next, I like to apply my favorite blush, which is the Tarte blush, and I use my Real Technique blush brush. Tongue twister, and you just put that right on top of that contour. Not too much, you can layer it on to your desired look, but that makes a big difference before and after, just with a little bit. I'm doing a second layer here because I am such a blush girl. I just love the effect that it gives. And since I am a beginner right now, I am just focusing on getting real comfortable with the powder blush. I do want to start using cream blush, but cream blush is a little bit more complicated to use. Yes, ma'am, coming together very nicely. Now time to bake and carve. I like to use the edge of my Real Technique Beauty Blender to really carve out my face. Pro tip, you don't want to put too much and you don't want to bake for too long because it will give you that white casty look, and we're not going for that. So less is more. Another one of my favorite pro tips is to get a small angle brush, go in with the darker shade that you use on your eyes, and you want to color in that waterline. This makes such a big difference, and this is a pro tip that really separates the beginners from the pros. But as a beginner, I'm showing you how to do this so you can get that pro effect. Oh my God, that looks so good. You want to take your time and really color it in, making sure you're not going too far down. Baby, just look at that before and after. Beginner, pro. Yeah, baby. Now I'm gonna go in with my e.l.f. powder brush and just brush all that loose powder away from the setting powder along with the eyeshadow. to brush all of it away. There's no harsh lines. Next, I'm gonna go in with my NARS finishing powder in the shade Shore and brush everywhere and blend. This is making sure I'm getting rid of all the harsh lines. And lastly, I go in with my Fenty Beauty blotting powder. This makes a big difference and really sets in the makeup and really gets rid of those harsh lines and that makeup-y makeup look and blends it in really well. Next, I'm gonna take my NYX Worth the Hype mascara and go in and touch up my bottom lashes. Now onto the lips. I am using my NYX lip liner. I forgot what shade this is because I do have a couple shades, but we're going to outline our lips. Blend that lip liner in real good, like this. Yes, look at that. Now I'm going to apply my NYX Butter Gloss. Oh my God, look at those lips. So kissable. Oh my gosh. Lastly, I am going to use my MAC Fix It setting spray. Let that sit in and look at this, y'all. This is so cute. Beginner wear. Yeah, let me take this hair down so y'all can really get into this look. Yes, I am only a beginner, but look at this pro look. I really hope you guys enjoyed this video and stay tuned for my next makeup videos and some more vlogs. Thank you so much for watching and I'll catch you babes next time. Bye.